following presentation is rated PG and may contain coarse language and mature themes. Viewer discretion is advised.
We've modified our bodies throughout history and there's different ways. And I kind of see that this is just our modern day culture way of doing it. I also just grew up thinking, why not make your body look the way you want it to look, you know? Why have the stock standard model? I was about 10 or 12 when I saw some kids skateboarding and I went and they had piercings. I was like, that's cool, I want that. And then my parents were always like, no, you can get them when you're older. I think it was about 14. They finally went, fine, you can get your earlobe pierced. If you can heal your earlobe piercing, you can get your eyebrow pierced and then never ask us for another piercing again. And then by the time I was 16, I had about 20 piercings. So at the moment, I don't actually wear very many piercings. They're more sort of heavier modifications now. So I have my conchas that have been removed. So I have large holes in them. And the only other piercing I really wear is my lip, which is also a large hole, which was scalpeled rather than pierced. So you can pull it through and there's a big hole there. I'm actually going to be visiting in a guy in New York that closes them soon, though I'm getting rid of this one. It's starting to damage my teeth a little, which I always said I'll get it, and as long as it's not hurting my teeth, it's fine, but now it's starting to rub away at my gums. And I still have a septum piercing that I just don't wear any jewelry in, but once I remove this one, I'll probably put something in my septum, so it's not too much cluttered together. Another few things that were things that I'd always kind of visioned is I've got some facial scarification up on the top of my head here, and I wanted the word evolving tattooed on my knuckles. So I got it done really, really cryptically, so you can put it together. And to everyone else, it just looks like symbols. I have my tongue split. The things that are really, really permanent, like having my conchas removed and the facial scarification, I only got as I was sort of in my late 20s, because I was like, I'm gonna think about this for a very, very long time. A little clapping sound sort of feel.
Got a world with no trouble.
Alright, so should we throw some of these axes? I'd always kind of respected people that had traveled and lived in different places, and always liked hearing their stories and their worldly view of how everything sort of, you know, I think when you travel you get a different perspective of the world, really. So it was always sort of, that was who I wanted to be as a traveling person, and my whole life sort of flipped upside down, and I went, well, I've got nothing better to do here, let's leave and start traveling and see where the world takes me. And strangely enough, it's Cambridge. I think Cambridge is a very pretty city once you kind of pull back the sheets a little. But I remember when I went back to Australia for my first trip home after 2 years of being in Canada, and I was like, I feel like everyone wants to fight me. Like, I feel like everyone's attacking me, you know? And it was just about the mannerisms of how people were talking and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm so used to the way that Canadians talk. It's so lovely. People say hello. People are polite, you know? I love Canada, and I love this studio. I come to work every day with a smile on my face, you know? When I'm not at work, I'm excited to come to work. The body piercing industry is fairly unregulated, pretty much worldwide. So there's obviously health board regulations Ontario's doing a really good job at the moment. They're starting to bring out some new guidelines, and they're really trying to make sure that at least when you're in a shop, you're being clean and you're not hurting people. A good apprenticeship probably is about 2 years of learning. I had the good part of I'd spent so much of my time researching piercing that I had got a lot of that theory knowledge, but you do spend a lot of time on theory and understanding how needles work and how they cut, and obviously infection control and sterilization, all that sort of stuff.
Let's go for it.
Perfect. And then there's the other thing is it's kind of in the middle of that little pocket there,
Okay.
so it will look centered in your ear.
Awesome.
Exciting. Needles cut a precise hole. They're actually making a hole with making a slice and doing less damage, whereas a gun is just using blunt force trauma to try and through the ear. Originally, from what I understand about guns, where they were designed to tag cattle. So yeah, they weren't even fully really designed for human use.
Wow, that's it?
Yep. So obviously, tissue's not cardboard. It's soft. It's going to move, and quite often it's got multiple layers that are going to shift in there. So a lot of the time you're going to be feeling to how you're going to grip something so that they're all going to stay in their right place.
Oh, I love it.
Perfect.
Absolutely love it.
Like, ears are my passion. Like, when I look at people's ears, to me it's like a fingerprint. It's something that's different between everyone. Everyone's got unique folds and shapes, and so there's lots and lots of different places on the ear that you can pierce, and I love just creating something that flows with the ear and just fits really nice in there, and you're like, oh, that just looks like a jigsaw puzzle, it just fits in there. So yeah, there's lots on there. We'll do eyebrow piercings, bridge piercings, lots and lots of nostril piercings. We'll pierce septum piercings, which have become really popular, like lips, tongues. I do some surface piercings sometimes. I try and move away from them a little bit because they're not always that long-term viable. Yeah, Hespel is a nice area. I always say Hespel is like kind of area you'd want to raise kids in. It's like, it feels like the like American TV show kind of thing. I've only lived in Cambridge for a bit over a year. So I sort of still getting the feeling for everywhere. This is not gonna hurt anywhere near as bad as what you're picturing it in your head, okay? And I can see it in you, you're like, nipple piercings, genital piercings are quite common now as well. I do really love doing genital piercings. They're where you get a real good, you get to know a person really well when you do a genital piercing. To be honest with you, most of my memorable experiences have been through, I do body suspension for people, like the hanging from hooks from their skin and swinging around and stuff like that. Everyone wants to be beautiful. And I think that as the industry grew and the styles of jewelry grew, there was that chance for people to be like, oh, cool, actually, that looks really beautiful. I want to wear that. And you don't have to be fully tattooed and fully pierced and have horns in your head to appreciate that anymore. You might look at me and be like, oh, he likes pain, you know? Like, I do not like pain at all. I like the results of pain. I think about it in the way of most things that you want that's worth getting hurt a little bit. You want a good, fit body, you go to the gym. It's gonna hurt more than most piercings. And you do that all the time. even mentally, you know, like you want to advance in your career, you have to make sacrifices in things. It hurts. Piercing's the same. You want that pretty look, it hurts a little bit, and you gotta just get through it.
And then push it all the way up.
In today's society, we really push for comfort. You know, we've gone further and further and further into pushing the ways to make ourselves feel comfortable. We think the end goal is to be comfortable, but comfort doesn't always bring you happiness. So when you are doing something that physically hurts, but you can overcome it, it makes the next thing that you have to do that hurts a little bit easier because you've done it, you've tested that muscle of just overcoming a bit of pain. I go into every modification, everything with the idea that this is going to change some way about how someone looks at me. You just have to be the nicest person you can be and be yourself, really. And if someone likes you, that will shine through. And then over the time, they start to meet more and more people that don't live to the stereotype that they've put in their head that that type of person has. And then that changes. And then that's how society changes. I don't think that society changes by screaming, "You need to accept this." People might say they accept it because they have to toe a line, but until you actually change the way that they think, that's the only way that you're actually going to really get acceptance from it. I think we all want to be noticed a little bit. So I've been questioning myself lately, like deep down is a little bit that I just want to be noticed. I wouldn't say that's all of it, but there might be a little bit of an attention-seeking thing. But I don't think the majority of people that get modifications, that's a forethought of their head. Like, I want to get this so that people will look at me.
Feel a little tiny pinch as I line this all up. And I want you to take a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose and push it all the way out. That's all the painful part done, my friend. How you feeling?
Good job.
Things that can be sewed back together, sew it back together if you don't like it anymore. It's just part of the journey. But I do always I look at it in the way of, I want to enjoy my life. I want to not live my life thinking, I wish I had have done that. And if I get to the nursing home and my biggest problem is I have some bad tattoos or, you know, a scar on my face or holes in my ears, and I'm not worried about the arthritis that's crippling me or something along those lines, and I'm living a pretty good life already, you know? Like, I think once I get older, I'm gonna have bigger fish to fry.
You can't leave me now.